Minecraft back in Bedrock Edition, which also just came out for PlayStation 4 today, so it's nice to see that those players will also have access to this latest update that adds our friends, the buzzing little bees. They're a fun little neutral mob, and I've got a bunch of them out here so I can kind of show off just what this provides. We're going to go into details about the bees, what this update has in general, and also give some details in regards to taming for these creatures. So these are a fuzzy little neutral mob. If you kill them, there's nothing that drops. You don't get any XP, you don't get any items, so there's no point in doing so. They're just little friendly aerial creatures, which I've been really calling for a long time in Minecraft, just to have something more like air-based. So they are really cool. They float around, they do their little thing, they got a cool little shadow. They look for flowers, they'll fly around forever, and then they'll go back to their nest. If there's no room in their nest, they'll try to find another one, and they'll just keep traveling until they actually do. They love flowers, and they spend their lives gathering pollen from them. So that's why I put some flowers out, so they could have some that are close by. So after they gather the pollen, like mentioned, they go back to their nest. So we've got the natural nests and the man-made beehives. These have got some honey in them, as you can see. Natural bee nest. So these you'll find out in nature. These ones are just stuff you make, and that's how you more, collect them and everything like that for, I guess, man-made use, if that's what you want to put it like. So yeah, if they can't find pollen, they'll fly home. If a bee doesn't have a home nest, it will wander around until it finds one it can use, like I mentioned. So they'll just be sad out there. So they don't like the rain, and they sleep at night. They will return to their nests in these cases. So that's something interesting to keep in mind. Let's get some more of these out here. And maybe another beehive right nearby so they can continue to use that for my new bees that are spawning. So bee nests generate in flower forests, plains, and sunflower biomes. When a bee visits a nest and completes its journey undisturbed, the level of honey increases. So that's interesting. You can use shears on a full hive or nest, and that will harvest honeycomb, and using glass bottle will give you a honey bottle. So we've kind of got that set up over here. It's just like the honeycomb block, and then you can see the pieces of honeycomb in the item frames, which is really cool. And then we also have the honey block, which is like a sticky kind of like slow surface. And yeah, things are also redstone friendly too, so dispensers can shear honeycombs from hives and nests, so that's something to keep in mind. Another really neat feature is the fact that campfire smoke calms bees. So you place one underneath a nest or hive to keep them in a chill mode, so you can kind of see how the effect there on that. I think that's really cool. It's just like we got this nest here. Oh wow, yeah, it's got honey in it too. That's really cool. And you can see how the campfire kind of affects that. Really nice little setup I think I got going on here. Kind of shows off the whole process of the bees. So anyways, we got more details. The honey block, which you can see right here. Nice little honey block. It greatly reduces movement speed and jump height, but also reduces fall damage. You can slide down a wall of honey blocks to slow your fall. So you can use this in parkour, and I imagine we're going to see things like that over time. I don't know if you notice that, but it's like a slow kind of fall, as opposed to this where it's like a jump. Again, just like a slow little fall there. When a honey block is piston moved, adjacent blocks will also move, so you can create kind of like flying things that move in the air. I'm not that technically impressive, so I'm not going to be able to do that, but it's a cool thing. And something to keep in mind, honeycomb blocks, a decorative block can also be crafted with honeycomb. That's the honeycomb block. It's like a decorative type thing. It's kind of a cool texturing. You could probably use it as like a floor, I would think. It looks kind of cool. It's like a floor tiling, in my opinion, or maybe like walls, like a honey house. I think that'd be really fun, just having something a little bit different. They did make some changes to the game too that I quickly want to go over before jumping into the taming. So leads can now be used on polar bears, parrots, ocelots, and dolphins. I always thought you could use a lead on a polar bear. I remember doing that in the past. Dispensers can now fill bottles with water and honey. Tweak the amount of XP dropped by animals to match Java Edition. Cool. So you get 1 to 3 XP when killed. Dolphins now drop 0 though. Some fixes, but generally that's the main gist of the update. It's not necessarily a big one, but I think the bees are kind of like a pretty cool and really different sort of critter to have in the game. At least I think so. I mean, look at them. They're so fun. They're just like bobbing around, doing their thing, buzzing everywhere. So we've got these critters. They love pollen and everything like that. So the key to taming them is just the use of a flower. So you use the flower, and I guess we could get, I think they like sunflower. Yeah, I think that's one of their favorite types of flowers. And then, yeah, that's the taming process, is you just kind of give them a flower, and then you get a little bee. See the little one? Oh, there it is. Look, where'd you go? Oh, there's a little bee. Little bee. And, yeah, they really like they're loving the sunflower. Yeah. And then you can take it off, and then they're like, oh, they don't care anymore. Which kind of hurts my feelings. I loved having that much attention and love. You just don't get enough of that. So yeah, that's the key of taming them. You get an offspring and you have more soaring around. Very easy process. So basically just keep feeding them flowers. The hearts will appear over their head. It takes 2 for baby bees, and then they have a 5-minute real world cooldown before breeding is possible again for more bees out there. But I mean, you can always have other bees to breed with other bees. So that's right. It's not just about getting the heart emoticon going. You actually got to kind of get them together too if that doesn't happen. If they're somehow not drawn to your flower, which they seem to really be into, you might need to kind of like get them close to each other in order for that to be more effective. Yeah, and just keep in mind that like it might be a little harder to tame them once you get the hearts going if you keep the flower in your hand, as they are so distracted by it. I think it's kind of hilarious how it goes like, you know, they're all of a sudden all interested in me. They're like, ooh, he's got a flower. Maybe not right now. I think they're all, oh no, now they care again. They were doing their pollen thing. This is the honey bottle, if you were curious, wondering what's in my hand. Yeah. And they fly around, so you might need to be careful, but they do seem to soar towards you. They're friendly. For details about like health, they have 10 health points with an equal love for nest or hive homes. They don't care either or. So I mean, aesthetically, I think the man-made beehives look nicer, but if you want a more natural look, I guess you can get those going too, depending on your setup. Yeah, that's the kind of critters. They're just nice, friendly bees that you find in flower spots, and you can get out there to go to your flowers and kind of pollinate them. Ooh, there's one in like more of a natural state. I think I'm getting like FPS drops. I can't quite tell. It's weird. Usually this is like rock solid. So anyways, there's a little bee. He's doing his thing on the flower. And that's kind of like more of a, I guess, a natural style thing, and then you can follow it as it goes back to its home. And I think it's just kind of like a fascinating sort of thing to see, the fact that, you know, we've got these bees in the game, and it's just like a really fun addition to the game, at least in my opinion. Having these buzzing little creatures going and doing their flower things, it just kind of helps add a little bit more of an element of, I don't know if realism is the right thing to say, but just a new dynamic to it. The fact that we've got like these creatures that are, you know, in the sky a bit, going, working, hitting up flowers, doing their own thing, having cool nests. It's a sort of dynamic we haven't really had in Minecraft, I don't think, or really anything too close to it. We get some new fun blocks to play with, which is always nice. And these are like more functional blocks, right? Because we get, you know, it's the bee. Ooh, yeah, because this is going to be different than slime, right? Like slime, you bounce high. This one is more of like a sticky thing, which is really cool. I'm sorry, I'm flying away. But you get the sense of what I'm saying. So we can have like sliding surfaces, we can have sticky surfaces, and they're a little bit different because you can like slide down them. So that's like a really big change up, like we were showing earlier. I think that's really cool. And then we got the honeycomb block, and we've got honeycombs that we can play with. And yeah, generally I was just very happy with this update. It's cool to see. Again, a little bit of a smaller update, but it kind of makes sense, I suppose, you know, just to kind of get these creatures out here, because I imagine they were a lot of work. And hopefully that leads the way to us possibly getting more aerial creatures in the future, or more characters like this that have more unique behaviors, because, you know, a lot of the other mobs, they go and they do their thing, and they're getting more and more advanced and complex Minecraft-wise, but we haven't really had too many that are, able to go out and do certain set paths and goals. I mean, they have missions. They come back at night. They don't like the rain. They go and they hit up flowers, and then they come home. I mean, that's kind of a smart scripting kind of thing, in my opinion. And they look really cool too. Do you need a home? Do you not have a home, bee guy? Yeah? You want to go home, little bee guy? But anyways, that's the bee update. I hope you enjoyed this look at it, and I hope it kind of covered the key details of what we're getting here, new feature wise and everything like that, and the taming process.